This podcast is the result of my passion for languages and for talking to people. I have conversations with language professionals who are willing to share their experience. We focus on their work, but also on how their love for languages has shaped their personal lives. I started my career as a researcher in terminology, but I found my passion for working directly with clients when I lived in the United States and started working as a language consultant for global companies like Sony, Apple, and Google. When I came back to Europe, I was introduced to the world of LSPs, where I had multiple roles: project manager, vendor manager, and terminologist. Now that I am fully dedicated to my own projects, I provide language services in English and Portuguese, mentoring and consulting for the localization industry, and of course, I'm also a podcaster. Find out more on LinkedIn or Instagram and get in touch if you'd like to explore how I can help you with your projects. I am Rita Prazeres Gonçalves, the language worker. Hi, everybody. So today we have our second reunion. Obviously, this means that I'm bringing back some of the guests that we had on season one because, I was still getting started, trying to figure out what the story was. And now I'm still figuring out what the story is. But at the same time, I have done a few episodes. So I guess now I'm a little bit more aware of how things are. So I decided to bring back the first victims just to check in and see if everything is okay and how they're doing and all of that. But before we start talking about this whole year, let's just have a really brief presentation from each one of you. And I would start with Renata simply because it's going to be in order of appearance in the original episodes. So Renata was my first Brazilian guest. Now I've had a few more, but Renata was my first Brazilian guest. And so it was one of our first episodes in Portuguese. But today she's going to speak in English. So just a brief presentation. Renata, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me again. I'm Renata, I'm from Brazil, as you already know. I am an audiovisual translator, and I've been recently specializing in editorial translation as well. My language pairs are English, Portuguese, Portuguese, English, Brazilian Portuguese. I can understand a little bit of European Portuguese, not a little bit. I can understand plenty because part of my family is Portuguese. And I'm also part of the board at the Brazilian Association of Translators and Interpreters. I've been there since August 2022. And yeah, so our term ends in August 2024, and we still don't know if we're gonna remain there or if we're gonna leave. We don't know anything. And last year we did the 12th conference, the international conference, and it was a huge success. We had 40, not 40, we had 400 attendants, and I was really happy about it. But so that's why I've been away from LinkedIn too. So I've had a lot of things to do. And with my work as an audiovisual translator, I've been working mainly with dubbing translation. But I'm also specialized in subtitling, and now I'm trying to go back into subtitling, and I want to work more with subtitling too. That's
Mhm.
it.
That's it. That's who Renata is. And Dot, after Renata, a few weeks later, we had Dot. So my fellow podcaster.
So yeah, I'm Dot. I'm British, based in Manchester, and I'm also a subtitler, and I translate German and Dutch into English. And I was mostly subtitling like movies and TV shows. More recently, this is probably the most recent update, which I've not even posted about anywhere, is that I've been subtitling a lot of explicit content, so that's been quite interesting.
We need to talk about that.
Bit different, and I can't talk too much about it, but it's been a bit different, been a bit interesting. Probably don't want to share my search history with anyone at the minute, but but yeah, and I've also actually been doing a little bit of copywriting as well, which I wasn't really planning to do, but I sort of like kind of got, you know how sometimes you just kind of accidentally get into things a little bit, and
Oh, I do.
I'm not like officially offering it as a service to all my clients at the minute, but I'm kind of trying it out and enjoying that. And yeah, what else is that? Oh, I got married since I last spoke to you.
Yes,
So
I was going to
that
ask about
happened.
that in a minute, but if you
I was trying to think what were my life updates in the past year.
we don't need to say it yet.
But yeah, that's probably most things. Oh yeah, and I still have my podcast called Meet the Translator. So yeah.
And then we have our Adrian. I guess most of us know who Adrian is, but just a brief presentation before we get into the ins and outs of the year, because it's a lot.
Hello, Rita. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me back. Congrats to Dot. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Adrian. I'm a Swiss-German translator based in Brussels, Belgium. I've been doing this for 6, 7 years now. Specialized in the sports business now, especially this year, really focusing on this industry. So it's very exciting, like a lot of new stuff happening lately. And I also have a YouTube channel called Freelance where I post videos about profession and freelancing and languages. And I'm a big fan of community building and having conversations with people. So very happy to be back, of course.
Yay, thank you so much for coming back. So, Renata, let's talk about this Brazilian association. You have to say the name because I don't remember very well, and then I'll make
the name is
mistakes.
Brazilian Association of Translators and Interpreters.
Okay.
But we call it ABRAT.
Oh,
for
that's
short.
exactly what it is. Yeah,
ABRAT,
Abrates,
yeah.
right?
Associação
So,
Brasileira de Tradutores e Intérpretes.
yep,
It's a long name.
it's true, but that's
As
what we have.
everything in Portuguese. Portuguese is a very
Exactly.
long language.
Yes, we could say that, I suppose.
Yeah.
But how has it been to be a part of an association? Because I guess it's been like a very relevant part of your year. I know you started the year before in 2022, but I guess the vast majority of your activities happened during this 2023 period, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the bulk of it, the bulk of our work has been in 2023. It was a very crazy year. As you can imagine, none of us, we are six, the board, I'm the treasurer. In fact, I'm the first treasurer because there are two treasurers, right? So I'm the first one. And it's a lot of work. We have like 400 members, and our work is it's volunteer, right? We don't get paid anything, but we gain a lot in experience because none of us had ever organized, planned any kind of event. Some of us are interpreters, some of us are translators, and so we had to look for sponsors and schedule all sorts of things. I still don't know how we managed to do all that, but we spent a lot of nights with no sleep. It was very difficult. Yeah, so apart from that, I am also I'm in charge of the communication at the association. So I'm responsible for planning the content and gathering all the materials that we get from our partners, right? Because we have there are many translation institutes. Like I don't know if this is something that is part of the European translation industry, but we do have many institutions here, education institutions who teach translation and interpretation, but not at an academic level, right? Not at a university level. For instance, I don't have a master's degree, but I know that many European translators do, and this is not mandatory. Here, I don't know if this is mandatory elsewhere, but it's not mandatory in Brazil if you want to be a translator, because our profession is recognized by the Brazilian government, but it's not regulated. I don't know if this is the way
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, so this means we have it's different, right? Because we need an accountant to, because if you work
You have a bit of
elsewhere, if you
a
don't work
stamp
in
or something like
Brazil,
that, right?
a stamp is only for tradutores juramentados.
Oh, right.
I don't know how do we say tradutores juramentados in English. I don't know.
Sworn
Forgot.
translators, I suppose.
Sworn translators, yeah, that's it. Sworn translators, they have a stamp, and they have to pass a test. And then I don't know really what happens, what goes on, if they get something, some money from the government, or if they are only paid per project. I don't know how it goes in Brazil, but I do know that we don't have like specific in Brazil we call piso, right? Because the workers whose profession, whose occupation is regulated by the Brazilian government, they have a minimum salary that they should get, right?
Okay.
Per month. And in Brazil, we don't have that, right? We have, for example, we have Abrates and we have Sintra. Sintra is the union of translators. And the Brazilian Union of Translators, and they have a page in their website where they have all these recommendations of rates, and many people say, "Oh, but I can't charge that because it's too high."
So they kind of
But they are
regulate the
not.
prices,
It's
or at
not
least give you.
mandatory.
Yeah, they give you an
It just
idea.
gives an idea, right, of how much we can charge. But it's many people don't understand that this is not mandatory. It's just there for orientation, right? Just advice.
So you had a super busy year because you had to organize a bunch of stuff and be in touch with a lot of people, and that's also the case for Dot. It's true that she got married. I don't know who organized this
Congratulations,
this wedding.
for not.
Thank you. I actually organised it myself. Well, me and my husband organised it ourselves, so that was also a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean, but you have a lot of practice, I would say, because you organize something that it's very, very interesting and very particular, and I guess very unique. I guess there's somebody else who does it, I guess, in Greece. For the first time, she's going to do it this year, something like that. But I had never heard it until I heard it from you, I guess. So you do have like some sort of a business retreat for translators? She's like, oh, that's what she's talking about.
We've literally got another one in like 2 weeks.
Okay, so we should talk about it, shouldn't we?
Yeah, me and Chloe and Maya Lane, we decided to, do you know what it was really random because we all kind of separately had the idea, and then like me and Maya spoke about it one time, and then I met with Chloe, and then she was like, I've had this idea, and I was like, that's the same idea, let's all do this together. So so we organized this business retreat, and it was like one day up in the Lake District.
So you're talking about last year, right? So that already happened once.
Yeah, last year's one. It was in September. Up in the Lake District, because that's where Maya lives, and so she like knows everywhere around there, and it's very nice and sort of like feels like a kind of place where you'd go for a retreat. And so yeah, we did that, and it was just like one day, and we like a whole bunch of people came to this nice little place and talked about business things, and then we like went out and had a little swim in the lake, and yeah, it was really nice. And yeah, so we've got another one in about 2 weeks. I think it's in about 2 weeks. And it's also going to be in the Lake District, in the same like place, but in a different building in that same place, and it's going to be over 2 days this time. So we've got like one day for the business stuff, and then a second like full day for activities, because we were like, we want to do more
swimming in the lake because it's the winter, right?
Yeah, we're not going to be swimming in the lake, but we are going to be, I think we're going to be canoeing or kayaking or something like that. I can't remember. So
when you say business thing, is it like almost like a presentation or a conference type or a round table, or what kind of thing do you have going on?
So it's more like, so we have so the one that's coming up, we've changed it slightly, but we've basically got 3 sort of main sessions on different topics. So this time we've got one on mental health and like work-life balance, one on like marketing and working with clients, and then the other one's on no, wait, one's marketing, social media, one's working with clients and something. I do know this.
I know how it is. Sometimes we talk about it so much when we want to talk about it, we don't remember.
Basically things related to your business. And we don't, it's not really like we do a presentation, it's more like we sort of lead a session. So we'll like start off with like some like questions to get people thinking. And we might sort of like have people kind of discussing as a whole group, and then get people to like split into groups and discuss with each other and sort of share ideas. So like we're sort of leading it, but we're not like giving all the information, because we think that everyone sort of has things to share, and they can kind of get inspiration from each other and stuff. So that's sort of the idea of that. Yeah.
So you really don't have like guests who do presentations or anything like that. It's a bit more. So the three of you would take care of all the talking and organizing and all of those things, right? Involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And why did you decide to make it 2 days instead of one? Especially because now you don't get to swim in the river.
Well, I think we just thought, because like a lot of people were traveling up to the Lake District, like it's not like not many people actually live in the Lake District. So a lot of people were traveling up, and a lot of people were staying for a couple of days or like for the weekend and stuff. And we just thought like, oh, it would be really fun if we had like another day where we could do more activities. So we just thought we'll try it out. I don't know, we're just sort of gonna see how it goes, and then hopefully if we have like future ones, we can, you know, make more changes or do whatever seems to work best.
For another extra day next time.
Yeah, maybe it's not going to become like a whole week, but
I don't know.
We did initially, actually, I think we did initially think about doing it over a couple of days. But for the first one, we were like, let's just do 1 day. Let's keep it simple, see how that goes first, see if anyone even comes to it or is interested, and then think about expanding it a little bit, rather than starting it off like with too much going on at once.
So, Adrian, when we talked in March, end of March, probably, but you'll know because you'll know the date of your trip to Patagonia, right?
Okay.
You were
it was
about
just before,
to go.
Right? All right.
I guess
it was end of
before.
March then, yeah.
Exactly, right?
It was end of March.
So, yeah.
It feels much longer ago for me. I don't know. Feels,
I know, but
like
I was just thinking
months.
about it because of the brand Patagonia, right? So I used to be a client when I was in the States, and I'm not sure if it's in Europe, because I've never seen any evidence that we have it. But I was
just Dutch brand.
Talking to someone on LinkedIn about their post, or I don't know, and I was like, oh yeah, Patagonia thing, and then I was like, yes, Adrian.
It's a very cool brand now. I work with them now. I think they are Dutch, and they're very ecologically aware and very sustainable. So it's a cool brand.
Yeah, I really like them. So
but
when I was in the States,
them in Patagonia, so it's a European thing.
Yeah, so I guess I thought like the full-blown thing was in the States, but maybe it's not even an American brand. I don't even know. So yeah, that's what I thought, but maybe not. So what happened ever since? I mean, a lot. I know that you've been to a lot of events. You've had all sorts of things going on. So just walk us through a little bit of the highlights, because I know it's a lot. You probably don't even remember everything right now. Just like
it's always all kind of a blur.
I know how it is. So go back to Patagonia, and let's go from there.
I mean, that was amazing. That I really took like a month of work, and that it has been a long time since I've done that. But whenever I do a longer travel and I go further away, then I don't like to work from abroad. So when I do smaller trips, that's something else. But so yeah, right after our episode, I remember now that you say it, I left for almost a month, yes. And then I straight back to work, a lot of events, you're right. I was part of the B Word conference. It was the first ever international translation conference in Belgium, and I was asked to host it. So that was a first. It ended up being more exhausting, but easier than presenting at the conference. So it was because you only have to talk, in the little breaks. You have to entertain people, and I got
You have
quite
to
good
entertain.
in
I
that.
love it.
Yeah, through the videos, it became quite easy and natural. It's still, I think I told this last time as well. It's still this kind of different persona that I have when I do these things. It doesn't feel like it's myself, and sometimes it's a bit weird and stressful. But whenever I'm done with it, I always enjoy and appreciate having done it.
Hmm.
Another big event was TEF, Translating Europe Forum here in Brussels. I was there invited for the second time to speak in a panel, and this is always just very impressive because it's so well organized and it's at the commission, so it feels like this huge thing, and
And it
I meet
is,
all
right?
these very big people in the industry and sometimes feel a bit out of place, but then when they approach me and talk to me, then it makes sense that yeah, I'm supposed to be there, and it's nice to represent freelancers there, so to kind of show that this industry only works with us and through us, so that's
Hmm.
really cool. And then end of the year, I went to ISPO in Munich. It's an international sports conference. So that's when I really kicked off my new kind of orientation of the business to fully specialize in this industry. These were the three main events, I would say.
Hmm. Yeah, so I guess the one in Belgium was the one where you did all the videos and all of that stuff, right? That you were showing your activities and running around and going to the hotel and arriving and coming and,
Exactly,
and going.
exactly. I did the video. Yeah, I told the organizers I can host or I can make a video, but I can't do both unless I bring someone with me, Anita, who's working for me. So I flew her out from Budapest and she came with me and she was kind of filming the whole day while I was hosting. And
Wow.
like that, I managed to do both, and it was actually really fun. It was cool. But as Dot says, it was also a first time, so they only did it just one day. They also want to scale it up if possible, but when you do something for the first time, you just need to make sure that you're selling any tickets, right? So they were really, when I had the first meeting with them, they were really scared to not sell their 150 tickets or so that they had available. But
Mm.
then it went very quickly. And I think
Yeah, I can
people
imagine.
are, yeah, they're interested. It's very nice to meet people in person in the industry. It's something else than meeting virtually. It really
Hmm.
gives another kind of sense of community when you meet them in person. And some people that were on the channel that I met just through emails or on LinkedIn, I actually got to meet last year, and that was so fun.
Yeah. I need to go travel around myself.
Yes.
Probably coming soon. So,
Yeah.
Dot, in terms of the podcast, because let's inspire Renata and tell her about our activities this year in terms of our podcast, because Adrian doesn't have a podcast, but it is a podcast because it's just the fact that I guess he doesn't have the audio version only, but he has the video, and that is
It's on Spotify. Yeah, it's a podcast.
I didn't know that. Huh. Is it because of the
Yeah,
new
yeah.
features or?
Yeah, they have a video implementation now, so
Yeah,
they
so I've
they
heard
sent
about
me like
it.
a beta version invite. So yeah, now it's all on Spotify, and people actually listen to it there. It's funny.
Hmm. Well, yeah, isn't it interesting when that happens? So, I mean,
Yeah.
Dot, because you started much before me. And how is it to like look at all the stuff that you've done before, and then this year that you have so many things going on with your wedding and all sorts of other events, not only that one that you organized, but I guess you were all also present in a lot of other events that you didn't necessarily organize yourself. I mean, I think I remember seeing photos of you in events and talking and all sorts of things. How do you manage having a podcast
This
and
is
doing all that stuff? Because I mean the advantage is, I would say, is that when you get somewhere, people kind of know who you are, because having a podcast, and Adrian has that experience a lot. I can only imagine everybody knows who you are. That must be really funny. But how was it for you to just go places and meet people, and then at the same time having to manage your podcast and all the things that you have going on that you really do and you have to move on with?
um I I'll be honest, I get very overwhelmed. I not I don't really know how I manage it, to be honest. I often just have a jumble of a lot of things, and like I'll have to prioritize certain things at different points in my life depending on what I'm doing, and I just try and I don't know. I mean, I make every morning I wake up I get ready like about half an hour before I need to start any work, and I sit down and I write my to-do list of all the things, and I feel like that kind of helps because then I'm like, if I can, sometimes I have like a list of kind of things that I've got ongoing that I need to be working on every now and then, and I try not to like overwhelm myself with too many things each day, but I'm like, okay, if I do a little bit of this thing, then that's like progressing with that or whatever. And yeah, but I don't really know. I feel like that's something I'm trying to figure out is how to actually manage it, because unlike you doing like 18 episodes in 1 month, like I think
That's in the
last year
past.
I think last year, I don't know exactly, but I didn't, I maybe did like 5 episodes in the whole year. I'm not even 100% sure. It just
So you
like,
don't worry about having it every month or every.
like it's the kind of thing where I'm like, I really do enjoy doing it and I want to keep it going and I'm going to keep it going. But like, if I can't prioritize it, then I'm not going to stress myself over it. Like, I'll fit it in where I can fit it in, and in a time where I'm like mentally prepared to be doing it and I have the energy to do it and stuff, because I don't want to be trying to do it when I'm like stressed or tired or not thinking straight, if that makes sense. So like, I don't know, it's my podcast is something that I just don't pressure myself about. Like, I enjoy it, but it's
It's
like,
a go with the flow podcast.
yeah that kind of thing.
But Adrian is not like that, right? Because I guess, Adrian, you always have a video coming out every week. Sometimes you have guests, sometimes it's a solo episode, which is what I don't do, at least so far. Because I guess it's a whole other story, and I still have to figure out how I would do it myself. So I guess, how do you manage all of that with all the things you need to do? And especially this year, I suppose, was one of your busiest years in terms of, of all this more social life, work oriented things. And you still also have, obviously, your language business itself, right? So how do you feel that you did this year with managing all that stuff and traveling to Patagonia? Shall I say it again?
Yeah, I mean, the language business is still the priority, right? I got very good in becoming much more efficient in these YouTube videos. I have it very structured. Yes, for me this is kind of this relieves the stress of thinking about it when I just have it in place. It just happens. So even if I don't have an idea, I know I have to do it, so I just do it. For me, that's how my brain works. I'm very like, I don't have any issues with like procrastination or like motivation, etc. So for me, it's all down to timing, to planning. I live my life very. I don't ever really stress or worry about work or this whole thing. It's I really live my life outside of this, and then my work part is just I try to enjoy it as much as possible. It's hard to explain, but yeah, I take a break in the summer to kind of reset from YouTube, and the rest of the year I upload every Monday at 6 p.m. and that's just set. So I know that at least once a week I have to do something. But now I became I kind of bulk create these videos. So sometimes I just take one whole Friday and I make 3 or 4 videos, and then I have it for the month, and that's done. So I pre-produce, definitely. Not at the moment. Since the new year started, I have been working on quite big videos that take a lot of time, so it's impossible to pre-produce them. So now I have this, beginning of the year motivations. I want to make the best videos possible, and they take a lot of time. So it's always for the following Monday at the moment. But once I get in the rhythm a bit, and not every video can be my favorite video. So sometimes they are more or less filler videos, but That's the thing. Like if I were to not upload these filler videos, then I would not have this rhythm that I need, right? And then I would just stop making them probably. So I rather sometimes make a shorter one that is more like just some information for some people that are interested, so that I can put more energy in the big ones. And how I manage the all the things. I mean, I luckily now it's part of my working environment, right? I consider everything I do also. Now this interview, this is all one thing for me.
Mhm.
I don't think I have a language business. I have a YouTube. It's all connected because that's how it can grow, I think. Um, and I have help. Like I work with people that help me. I mean, the whole social media promotion, I don't do any of that. I have no social media on my phone, etc. That's all done by someone else.
Mhm.
And these things help a lot. Much less distractions. Productivity and living a healthy life is what works for me.
Yes, sounds very good. Living a healthy life. Look at that.
Mhm.
So, Renata, talking about, I guess, what we're doing here. Yes, this is work. I feel you,
Talking
Adrian.
about
I feel the
healthy
same.
life.
This is work. Everything is work, and I like the fact that also is that fluid. That what you do in the office space, right, is work for whatever you're doing. Right. Today, I'm actually working on my son's project for school for Carnival because I have no other option but to do it in this frame of time too, but it's happening. But it's something that I also have to do. It's part of my jobs, right? So everything needs to be integrated and flowing somehow so that things just move along peacefully. But the whole purpose of all of this, I think, is for us to create community, like Adrian said, right? So that is also the most important thing for me. So Renata, if you look at this past year, how has it been for you to feel, or have you felt that you are part of the community? Do you feel like you participated more than usual because you're now involved with an association? Or how is it going for you in terms of building community or feeling like you're a part of this big language workers community?
I think I was I think at the beginning of my career, when I was the most active on LinkedIn, I really felt like I was part of a community. But then I think I sort of, I don't know, I fell out of, I went off the path. Something happened to me. I don't, it's all a blur now. I don't quite remember. But I know that when I got the invitation to be part of the association, and there were people voted, but there were like two chapas. Help me out.
Well, two
Help me
parties,
out,
sort
Rita.
of,
Yeah,
two
like
groups.
two parties. Yes. Uh, in fact, I think there was only one, and that's why
We
we
won.
became the board. Yeah, we won, right, the election. And I was feeling really out of everything, especially because of the pandemic. And I don't know, I was feeling very lonely, and I was in a very low state. So I decided to take on this challenge. I knew it was gonna be a challenge, but I had no idea how much it would be challenging because uh, I mean, there was a work done by the other people, right, who were part of the board, and then we had to build something on it. So we had first to understand. So we spent like 2 months before actually becoming the board, right? Only learning how everything worked and the administrative part, the managing and the finances and the communication. So we created a couple of divisions. We had no divisions. Some people had tried to do it before, but I mean, not all of them are active because one thing that I realized is that before I became part of the board, I thought that being part of a translators association was just like paying the fee, right? The annual fee. But then I realized as part of the board that there's a lot of space for people to join and to make themselves heard and their opinions count. Uh, because it's too much work. we can't do it, right? Because as Adrian and Dot said, we have our language business. And in fact, last year, I dedicated myself to my prospecting and all of the, I mean, I was only a translator, literally. I didn't do any marketing because I was so absorbed by the work at the association that I just, I didn't forget, but I couldn't, I didn't manage it, right, the correct way. And right now I'm trying to do the opposite. I am diminishing my efforts as a treasurer and as a communication supervisor in order to have to go back to building a healthy business, right? And a healthy life. Because last year I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I don't know if you have heard of this syndrome, but it's basically pain, diffuse pain, and a lot of like fatigue. I can't remember.
You're very tired? You feel very tired all the time?
Yeah, you feel very tired. Not all the time because I started medication and then I changed medication. Now I use cannabis as part of my medication, and it's very expensive because it's not legal in Brazil. But I can import a few flasks per 2 years, right?
Medicinal
I can
purposes.
yeah, for medicinal purposes, and it's helped me. It's been helping a lot, much more than the traditional medication, which I also take. But so now I really have to, because I already struggled with depression and anxiety, all these things, and then this is like a culmination of all my problems, my mental illnesses. So it's been very difficult to accept one more diagnosis. It's not easy because I'm very stubborn. I'm very stubborn, and of course, I wish I'd never have chronic pain and chronic fatigue, but it's the way it is, right? So now I'm trying to separate my life from my work, because I already did that, but I wasn't so big on leading a healthy life and understanding how important it is to turn off my mind and turn on the exercise, the healthy eating part, So I
Yes.
still struggle with that, but now because of the diagnosis, it's up to me, right? It's not only about the medication.
Yeah. So the community support is really important. And I guess, Dot, you also feel like, community is there for you because you even share your personal achievements, right? So the whole wedding thing. So how is it for you to bring your personal life or to bring your work and all of that together and feel the support from the community? Because I guess you're very vocal about everything that you do, and as you should. I mean, I am too, I understand. So how do you feel about what happened this year in your life and the impact that had in your relations in terms of the community?
I feel like because I've made so many good friends in the community, as well as obviously colleagues and stuff. I've made friends with these people last year, when I went to the BP conference in Utrecht, and I did a talk with Kelsey there, and I did a talk with Chloe as well, and us and Maya and Aniko, we all stayed in this houseboat together and stuff, and it's you really just, I don't know, make friends with these people. So then when I'm doing stuff in my personal life, obviously I don't post all of my personal life on LinkedIn and everything, but it's a lot of these people here in this community are my friends. So it's I want to share with them some of my non-work bits of my life. I want to share with them, I mean, a lot of my translator friends were at my wedding anyway, so they already knew about it. I had 2 full tables of translators at my wedding, and I think only one of them I actually knew. All of them apart from one I'd met through LinkedIn. So it's
Wow.
I think that's probably the reason that I share more of my personal life than a lot of people do. And I mean, I feel like it's a personal choice, isn't it? Like people have different boundaries with what they're happy sharing and stuff. And yeah, it's just sort of what feels right for me. I don't know.
So do you also feel the same, Adrian? Like, you know, people know you. I mean, usually people know you, I suppose. So not to want you to create a video right now, but but because you have a lot of practice doing that. So what about some, you know, a bit of advice to some of the people who don't feel as confident in, you know, sharing? It doesn't matter what it is, but some people, they feel like they're very private, and that something can happen if they overshare, or if they are, you know, out there and people end up asking them for favors and things like that, which is obviously, you know, these days, if you have a podcast, if something like that happens, it's true that people end up coming to you for sometimes not so usual requests, like, can you post my content, or can you do this, or can you do that, right? You know, that happens. I can only imagine how much it happened to you if it happens to me. So, I mean, how do you deal with all that, and what's the good in being out here in public?
Yeah. I can definitely understand that people have worries about that, and I think it's good to not share too much. I mean, I really have to be careful sometimes what I show in my videos. Like, I don't want to show, you know, the outside of my house or whatever.
Oh.
My address is, hopefully it is nowhere to be found. I'm really trying my best because I mean, the channel is big. It's almost at 30,000 people, right? So I don't want them to know where I am at any time. So I also wouldn't post stuff live when I am somewhere at that moment. I would always send the things to my social media manager, and then she puts it up later. So just these things I'm a bit more aware of, I would say. And yeah, I don't share private things online. That's just a personal choice of mine. I've never liked to do it, and so I don't. I know that it could benefit probably the whole promotional thing, but I don't want to do it just for that reason, right? If it was my style, I would do it, but otherwise, I don't feel like I need to. So whatever I share is professional. I only use professional social media, anyways. The closest I get to sharing is when I film, like I have this series when I do a day in the life video, when I just share what I do on a daily basis, and that's probably the most personal I get. But yeah, I have to be careful with also, like, recently I made a video where I wanted to promote the Team Translator initiative, right, from Kelsey and Aniko. And I just didn't think far enough that I can't show this on screen, obviously. And then I realized, oh yeah, I can't share this. I mean, this is a private community, right? So sometimes you don't think far enough, and you don't realize the reach that you can have on LinkedIn. Sometimes people, like 10,000 people, see your post, right? And it can get a bit. You're just at home in your four walls, and it can be a bit an illusion of how far you can actually reach in the internet. So just be a bit aware of that, I would say. But of course, the benefits of community are endless. I mean, at the moment, I don't do any client outreach anymore. It's any lead I get is either directly from a client or through a colleague referral, and that's all thanks to the video. So that helped me immensely, and I get invited to these conferences all the time, and it's very fun. It just needs to be, as you say, like, you have to kind of estimate what request is beneficial to you and also to the audience, right? There's so much crap that I get asked to do on the channel that I could.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like, you could just shell crypto for like $3,000 easily every week, and of course that's like not the point of the channel, but it's easier to make money when you're a bad person, I think. So I try my best to navigate what's actually valuable for the people watching.
Yeah, and I'm
Plus,
sure that that's how people see you.
Yeah, and I have to tell these brands, very honestly that you can work with me, but I'm not gonna. I don't. There's not going to be a lot of conversion. These people are not. My audience is not an audience that they're mostly at the beginning of their career, right? It's not going to be a very lucrative audience, but if you just want to do brand awareness and it's a brand that I agree with, then I'd happily work with them.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we do. I guess all of us here really believe in, community and getting together, gathering our ideas, putting it out there, because I'm sure that there's a lot of people watching and they might benefit from it even without saying a word to us. So this is why I guess we do it. So guys, thank you so much for coming back. I'm always bothering you. Come back, come back. So this time I had an excuse. So it was the reunion, right? And that's how I do it.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I'm very, very happy that you said yes. Thank you so much for taking some of your time to be here once again. And I guess I can still say happy 2024. And I will see you around. Thank you so much for this. And I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Nice to see you.
Bye, you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.